Hey, how's it going everyone? I hope you're all doing well as usual. First of all, Happy New Year. I hope everyone enjoyed the celebrations, even though it's the most anticlimactic evening of the year, you could say, New Year's Eve. But anyway, as a result of it being the new year, it's that time of year to do the Metal Tag 2026. So most of you are probably familiar with this. I've participated in it for 5 years running now, and it's always fun to do. So this is a questionnaire, annual questionnaire, which was started by Scott, the rock scout from Scotland. He did it for a couple of years, but then he got too busy with life, so it was taken over by the guys at Heavy Metallurgy, so Marty and Alan. And so they've done it for the last few years, and there's always interesting questions. So basically, if you don't know what it is, it's a series of questions, and you answer the questions by showing examples through bands and albums from your music collection. So yeah, always fun to do. 20 questions, so I don't want to waste any of your valuable time. We will just get straight into it. Okay, so question 1 says, 2026 is the year of the fire horse. Show an album with a horse on the cover. Okay, so I have quite a few albums with a horse on the cover, but I decided to go with one of my favorite artworks. This is Ensiferum with iron. So you can see there's the Viking warrior and the horse under the tree with the Finnish shield. Yeah, this is just one of my favorite artworks of all time because it's extremely epic, and just the level of detail and the color in that, I really like it. Yep, so that's my choice for question 1. And if you're not familiar with Ensiferum, they're a band from Finland. They play, it's sort of like a combination of melodic death metal combined with folk metal and a Viking theme. So it's very heavy and bouncy, but also melodic. It's just a lot of fun. So Ensiferum Iron with the horse on the cover there. Okay, question 2, nostalgia. Show an album that you do not think is a very good, but you can't bring yourself to get rid of it. Okay, for me, this, believe it or not. So yeah, like most people, I'm a fan of, like most metalheads, I'm a fan of Metallica, and for me, like most people, again, the first 4 albums are the best. This was really a gap filler. Like when this album came out in 1996, I was in my last year of high school and I was right into extreme metal at that time. So I immediately wrote this off saying, oh, it sucks. And I've never really been into it, to be honest. But the reason I bought it several years later, well, sorry, let me just back up there. First of all, this album has aged well. It's not as terrible as I thought, you know, compared to when it first came out. But it is a bit long and boring. However, I bought this album several years after it came out because there are a couple of songs I like, those being The House That Jack Built and Mama Said, which isn't even a heavy metal song, it's more like a Lynyrd Skynyrd song, like a country song, but really emotive vocals from James Hetfield. So basically, I bought this album for 2 songs, and there are some other ones which are okay, like Until It Sleeps, that song has aged well, I think, but yeah, the major flaw with this album for me is that it's just too long and boring and it wanders, but yes, I will never get rid of it because I still like 2 or 3 songs from it, so Metallica load. All right. Okay, question 3. Show your favorite album released in 2025. Okay, so like I've mentioned before, I'm not the most up-to-date person. I don't buy a lot of new releases. I just often I'm buying releases from many years ago. It's just whatever appeals to me at the time. So I didn't actually buy many albums released in 2025, but here is one which I did buy. This is Avulsed with, I always forget the name, Phoenix Cryptobiosis. So yes, Avulsed, the famous death metal band from Spain, they play old school gory death metal. And yeah, this album, it's certainly not reinventing the wheel, but it's a really good album. Like if you know what to expect from Avulsed, like, you know, the heavy down-tuned guitars and the bare, like, guttural vocals, gory lyrics, yep, you won't be disappointed with this. It's a good, solid album, and I really enjoy it. So, Avulsed with Phoenix Cryptobiosis. Okay, question 4. From Beyond, show an album that is not a heavy metal album. Okay, I decided to go with this one. A favorite album, you could say, a favorite album which is not heavy metal. I went with Mick Jagger with Primitive Cool. So if you've been watching my channel for a while, you'll know that I've followed Mick Jagger's solo career. On that topic, I usually show his debut solo album, which is She's the Boss. This one, Primitive Cool, is the second of 2 that he did in the 80s. And if I'm being honest, I actually like it more than the Rolling Stones. Like, Rolling Stones I didn't even tolerate or get into until about 8 years ago. And then I saw, I just decided to try these albums out. Dare I say it, I prefer Mick Jagger's solo material to his to the Rolling Stones, because with his solo material it's more 80s pop rock, and I like that nostalgic 80s sound, which is really cool. This album is really good. There's a couple of filler tracks on it, and maybe it's not as good as She's the Boss, but I still really like it. Yeah, some of my favorite songs, if you're being generous, they could be classified as hard rock maybe, like Radio Control and Shoot Off Your Mouth. But yeah, just really fun, catchy 80s pop rock. So Mick Jagger with Primitive Cool. And just saying that, I think he's a great frontman, and I really like his voice, so diverse. So there you go. All right. Question 5, The Unknown. Show an album that you can't ever remember hearing someone talk about on YouTube. Okay. Oops, got these a bit out of order. Okay, so the album I decided to go with, I'll take this out of the cover. This is Vordr, V-O-R-D-R, with their self-titled album. Now, just to be clear, this is the Greek Vordr, because I know there's another band from Finland with the same name, but I double-checked this. This is definitely the Greek band because it says made in Hellas, so Greece. So yeah, this is an album I just dragged out of the collection the other day, actually, to listen to, and really enjoyed it. Yeah, I've never heard anyone talk about it on YouTube, but essentially what it is, it's old Burzum worship. So if you like the earlier Burzum albums, especially the self-titled and Det som en gang var, you will really like this. In terms of the vocals and the guitar tone, it's right on the money with the Burzum sound. The only difference with Vordr is, compared to Burzum, maybe it's a bit more frantic and urgent sounding, like there's a lot of faster songs. Having said that, there are also some mid-paced and slower songs, but it's just really good. So if any of you out there are fans of old Burzum, yeah, definitely check out Vordr. Okay. Question 6. All right, Front Loaded. Show an album whose first song is the best song. So this is the one that just immediately sprang to mind for me. This is Rush with Signals. So the opening song is Subdivisions. If you're not aware, I only got into Rush in 2025, as a result of a recommendation from my mum, but I listened to a few greatest hits albums, really got into them, but the song which really stood out to me and grabbed my attention was Subdivisions, which is the first track on this album. It's melancholic and atmospheric synth rock, but so good. It's just absolutely brilliant. So I think this opening song, it just blows the rest of the album out of the water, but it also, you can tell it's like they knew it was the best song, so they decided to put it at the front, but it automatically makes the rest of the album brilliant. And the rest of the album is very good as well, but undoubtedly the best track for me is Subdivisions, my favorite Rush song. Okay. Question 7. Encore. Show an album that you think would be better if it were longer. Okay, this one is more of a hypothetical, you could say. And for the record, I would say that in general, I prefer shorter albums to longer albums. Like when a band like Watain releases a 70-minute album, it's oh Christ. But so I prefer like a 30-minute or 35-minute album. But this one's a hypothetical, it's kind of cheating, but an album which I wish was longer was the Dark Funeral debut mini album. So you can see here it was re-released as In the Sign. So the original mini album, it was 4 tracks, and then this one contained those 4 tracks as well as covers of 2 Bathory covers. But yeah, here was the lineup. So it was Black Moon, Lord Araman, Themgaroth on vocals, and Draugen on drums. But yeah, this debut mini album, it's just absolutely legendary. 4 songs and they're all really good. 2 of those songs, of course, went on to The Secrets of the Black Arts, namely Shadows Over Transylvania and My Dark Desires. But the other 2 tracks on this album, by the way, Secrets is an absolutely brilliant black metal album, but the 2 tracks which only appeared on this album were Open the Gates and In the Sign of the Horns. And I just think the sound that the band had on this debut mini album was awesome. So as a hypothetical, I was thinking, imagine if they did I know they intended to release this as a mini album, but imagine they did a writing session where they wrote material for a full-length album during this period. So with Themgaroth on vocals and Draugen on drums, the drum sound on this has a really, pang sound, like a biting sound, which is really cool. And those other tracks, Open the Gates and In the Sign of the Horns, they just have a lot of slower and more melodic riffs. Not slow, but just, they're still upbeat, but they have a lot of hooks and everything. And I just think you know, with the production that they got on this album, like it sounded raw but heavy, and musically it was really quite different for black metal because it wasn't just blasting all the time. Whereas, you know, the other two tracks did fit in. But yeah, I just think, imagine during this time when they recorded with Draugen on drums, if they had just done a full length in that setting, that would be awesome. But I'm not complaining about Secrets of the Black Arts because that's a brilliant album too. But yeah, there you go. Dark Funeral. Right. Okay, what's next? Okay, 8, fail. Show an album that you bought that disappointed you. I think I may have mentioned this before, but I couldn't think of too many. Like, I have mentioned Dark Funeral's Atera Totus Sanctus, which I think is easily the worst album by Dark Funeral, but I've mentioned that a few times. But yes, I've also mentioned this one, Psy with Scorn Defeat. So Psy are a Japanese black metal band, of course. And yeah, I remember buying this a few years ago because I really liked the song Ready for the Final War, which is absolutely epic. I heard that on the Black End compilation, and I thought, oh, if that's a sign of what's to come, this album's going to be really good. But as it happens, Ready for the Final War is simply the best song, and I didn't get into the rest of the album too much. Like, it's okay, but I just find I tune out when I'm listening to this, so it sort of becomes background music. But I know a lot of other people really do like this, and I'm not saying it's a terrible album, but I just don't find myself listening to it much because the only song I really get excited about is Ready for the Final War. So not a terrible album, but it was a little bit disappointing for me after hearing the best track, and then the rest didn't live up to it, for me anyway. But they are a really good band. I did see them live at Grasspop in 2015, and they're very talented and experimental. Just this one I didn't get into much, so Psy with Scorn Defeat. Okay. Question 9, The Return. Show an album that you played in 2025 that you had not played in over a year. Okay, so I went with... sorry, battery running low already. I went with this one, Covenant with Nexus Polaris. So yeah, this was an album which I bought in 1998, and then I sold in about the year 2000 just because it wasn't appealing to me at the time. But then I gave it a break, like over 20 years, I think. I think I did have a burn copy somewhere, and I might have listened to it a couple of times in the last 20 years. But I saw this when I was in Tasmania last year and decided to pick it up and was not disappointed. So if you're not familiar, Covenant, it's sort of like post-black metal or black metal inspired symphonic metal. But it's a supergroup. It features members of Dimmu Borgir and who else, like Cradle of Filth with Sarah Jezebel Diva. But it's very sort of flashy, you know, with the guitar playing and the keyboards and everything. So some people might see it as pompous and over the top, but that's what I like about it. It's just like, it's got a cosmic theme. And when I bought this again last year, I just really got into it. And sorry, Marty, because I know you don't like this album. I remember, this is just a brief aside, but back in the late 90s, I used to read Wormgear Zine, which was a magazine, metal magazine released by Marty. And I think it was like Relapse sent me some copies when I was ordering from them, but I used to read Wormgear Zine religiously, like John Travolta with the book in Pulp Fiction. But anyway, in Marty's Wormgear Zine, he expressly stated that he really did not like this album, and basically to avoid it. But I understand, each to their own, because some people, I get why some people wouldn't like the style of this, but for me, I really enjoyed hearing it after many years. And the reason I got interested with this band again is because, you know, they recently reunited for live shows. But yeah, happy to have this back in the collection. Covenant with Nexus Polaris. Okay. Question 10. Show an album with hilarious cover art. I don't really have any with hilarious cover art, like they're not laugh out loud funny, but I decided to go with a comical one here. So this is Horrific with Your Worst Nightmare. Horrific are a band where they combine aspects of death metal, heavy metal, punk, and even fringes of glam metal, and it's performed by one guy from Razorback Records and one of the members of Acid Witch. It's really good. But yeah, you can see here this cover, it's very cheesy. Maybe I should take this out because we are talking about the art after all. But yeah, it's very cheesy. So this Skeletor-like creature is frightening this poor woman with a guitar, and it says Satan on the neck of his guitar. Like, it's not exactly hilarious, but I just think it's funny because he's scaring her with the guitar. So it's not like that typical horror scene, but having said that, I really like this artwork. Like it's deliberately cheesy and comical, but at the same time, it's got that old school comic book aesthetic, which I really like. Yeah, so Horrific with Your Worst Nightmare. And just very quickly, another one, I wouldn't say, I think this one's funnier actually, but another one I have is this compilation, Fuck You, We're From Denmark. So the title itself is funny, but I just think combined with the title, that skull going, ah, like it's just hilarious. When you see it all together, you read the title and you see that picture, it's funny, yeah. Fuck You, We're From Denmark, which is a great compilation of Danish death metal bands, underground ones, like from the early 90s. Yeah. All right, so up next, question 11. Name a potential album release that you're looking forward to in 2026. I looked this up the other day and there's not a lot that I'm really looking out for, but I will say this. I know some people out there disagree, but I've heard a couple of the new Megadeth songs and I really like the sound of those and the production. I know some people don't, like Johnny Mac, but like each to their own. But yeah, so I'm looking forward, I'm interested to hear the new Megadeth album, especially because it's their last one and it's self-titled, so hopefully it will include all those, you know, classic elements that the band's famous for. And another album that I'm really looking forward to is Mayhem's Liturgy of Death. So I think with Mayhem, of course, I like them, and some of their albums didn't do it for me, like in the 2010s, but I think they've really returned to form with the last couple of albums. Like, I still don't own Daimon, you know, their most recent one until now, but I really want to get that because it's excellent. And the songs I've heard from the new Mayhem album, like yet to be released, Liturgy of Death, sound really good. So yeah, they're two albums I'm looking forward to, new Mayhem and new Megadeth. Any viewers want to tell me, are there other albums I should look out for in 2026? Let me know in the comments. Okay, question 12. In your collection, is there a pesky gap in a band's discography that you're hoping to fill? Yes, in a word. And that is Mortician. Yes, so the brutal death metal band from New York. I own every full-length album by them on CD. This one's Domain of Death, except for Darkest Day of Horror. I've just never owned that album, never got around to picking it up, and I would really like to. I know it's considered one of their sort of run-of-the-mill albums, but as a huge Mortician fan, I would like to get it to complete the full-length collection, and it seems doubtful they'll release another album. And I also own their EPs, so House by the Cemetery and Zombie Apocalypse on vinyl. So I have the EPs and all of the full-length albums except for Darkest Day of Horror. Having said that, I also don't own the EPs like Mortal Massacre and Brutally Mutilated, but if the opportunity comes up, I'll pick them up. But yes, I'm really looking to complete their full-length discography. I'm looking for Mortician's Darkest Day of Horror. So Mortician, and yes, this is Domain of Death, but I was just incorporating a visual example. All right. Okay, question 13, evolution. Talk about a band or an album that you think is successfully moving its respective genre forward creatively. I thought about this, and that's really difficult to say. So this is the closest I could get, actually. And this is Medieval Demon, the Greek black metal band. So you see from this cover, when they're all adorned in corpse paint and everything, it looks like pretty typical black metal. And in many ways it is, but I just think this band is expanding the musical realms of black metal just because it's, yes, as a Greek band, they do sound very Hellenic, that they do have those melodic elements, but what's different about them is they don't just sound like any other Greek band. As I've said many times, they incorporate this sort of hammer horror atmosphere into their music, you know, with the church organs and pipe organs and everything, and it sounds really evil and sinister, but it's just like, it's not playing typical black metal. And in addition to that, they incorporate, on their latest album, Black Coven, they incorporated some saxophone into the music, and I know Carpathian Forest did that first, but it's just, they seem to incorporate interesting elements for the sake of dark expression, like that, in addition to, like, on the album Medieval Necromancy, you know, they have choral vocals and spoken word parts, but I just think why I like them is because they have a completely unique sound and they don't sound like typical Greek black metal, and I think they're innovative and interesting. So that would be my answer there. Medieval Demon, the Greek band, in terms of like expanding the black metal sound. All right. Okay, question 14, told you so. Show an album or albums that someone recommended to you that impressed you enough to purchase. Okay, very clear answer for that. Sirith Gorgor from the Netherlands. So these were recommended to me by Mark from Wandering Souls webzine. When he ran his 1,000 subs contest, he had a question to say, so we could ask him a series of questions, and one of my questions to him was, what are some Dutch bands you could recommend? So he recommended this Dutch black metal band, Sirith Gorgor. Absolutely fantastic. He knows that Marduk is my favorite black metal band, so he said, if you like Marduk, definitely check this band out. And I did, and I'm so glad that I did. This is just fucking awesome. Like, it's blasting black metal, and it sounds like a combination of old school Marduk and old school Enthroned. Like early Enthroned, which I Enthroned are one of my favorite black metal bands too. So imagine that combination between Marduk and Enthroned. Obviously, I'm gonna like that a lot. So this is their debut album, Onwards Towards the Spectral Defile. And I also picked up this one, Unveiling the Essence. Yes, and both have strong Marduk and Enthroned influences. So thanks so much, Mark, for recommending me the Dutch black metal band, Sirith Gorgor. Yeah, he told me so because he knew I would like them, and he was right. Okay. Question 15, recommend a power metal album to Marty Worm that you think is exceptional. He's always on the hunt. Okay, so as you guys probably know, I'm not the biggest power metal fan. I mean, no, I do like power metal, but I just don't own a lot in the collection. So the only albums I do own, I'm sure Marty knows them because they're very well-known albums and bands. So it's not like I'm an expert on obscure power metal. You know, so I'm not going to mention big bands like Halloween, even though they're not entirely power metal. But Marty, I know you probably know these albums, but these are just some power metal albums that I enjoy. So first of all, Hammerfall with Glory to the Brave. A lot of people consider this to be a cheesy album, but I really like it. It's so good, it just conjures up this medieval atmosphere, like you picture the band playing in front of a castle, medieval castle on a cloudy day. So many good songs on this, like The Metal Age, Steel Meets Steel, Stone Cold is my favorite, but yeah. Good power metal album, Hammerfall with Glory to the Brave. Also, I own a couple of Rhapsody and Rhapsody of Fire albums. So this one, Reign of a Thousand Flames, and the Rhapsody of Fire, Triumph or Agony. This is very classical music inspired symphonic power metal. Like I think even fans of classical music would enjoy this, but yeah, when I'm in the right mood, I really enjoy this. And another one, Primal Fear with Nuclear Fire. I think this German band is considered power metal, even though musically it's more a massive tribute to Judas Priest. So if you like Judas Priest's sound vocally and musically, you'll love this. I really like Primal Fear, and this is probably, well, this is the only album, full-length album I own, but it's awesome. Is it power metal? I think so, but also heavily inspired by Judas Priest. So yeah, like I said, Marty, you probably know these albums, so, but I just thought I would show some albums that I like to answer the question. Okay. Question 16. What's the last album you purchased in 2025? Okay, this one arrived between Christmas and New Year. This is the Finnish black metal band Thyrane. Now, I'm not sure if you pronounce it Thyrane or Tirani, T-H-Y-R-A-N-E, because I know in the Marduk song, Demi Quaran Tirani, that's how they say it, but yeah, I'll just say Thyrane because I'm not sure. But yes, this is Black Harmony. This is a symphonic Finnish black metal band, very sort of bombastic and symphonic. So if you like bands such as Emperor, Dimmu Borgir, Lord Chaos, Vargrav, that really symphonic keyboard drenched sound, you'll like this. And this album, it's 35 minutes, it's only 4 songs, but they're really long and they're epic. So many exciting, can't even fucking speak properly. So many exciting and interesting moments on this album. And yeah, it's keyboard soaked, but absolutely awesome. I also really like their other album, Symphonies of Infernality, and if I see that in original format, I'll pick that up. But yeah, this one arrived towards the end of the year. So Thyrane or Tirani with Black Harmony. Great stuff. All right. Oh yeah, and by the way, this one I haven't talked about on the channel yet. This will be in a collection update soon, and I'll try not to say too much, but yeah, awesome stuff. All right. Shit, nearly knocked my CDs over. All right. Question 17, brain drain. When feeling musical burnout, what is a nostalgic album that makes you excited about music again? I thought about this, it was quite difficult, but I would have to go with Kiss, Lick It Up. Just because like I didn't discover this too early, but I always just think Kiss, in my opinion, are just such an honest band in the sense that they know that the sound that they're looking for and they just go for it, and they don't really sound like anyone else, especially because of the vocal styles of Stanley and Simmons. But this is people have heard me say this is my favorite Kiss album of all time, also my favorite rock album of all time. It's just brilliant. It's got some heavy metal and speed metal elements in there with the guitar style of Vinnie Vincent, their lead guitarist at the time. But I always just find when I come back to this, it's got that nostalgic 80s sound. The music sounds honest and it's really exciting. It's just pure rock and I just enjoy it every time. And it's one of those albums I play from beginning to end. So if I can't think of what else to listen to, I usually go back to this because I know it's always going to be fun. So Kiss with Lick It Up. All right, question 18. There's Waldo. Show a classic or older album that you somehow overlooked for many years that you loved as soon as you heard it. Okay, one would be Nightfall by Candlemass, but I think I mentioned that last year in last year's Metal Tag, possibly. So yeah, Candlemass, absolutely great Swedish doom metal band. But I decided to show another example this year, and I went with Torka Nattestid. So Torka, Norwegian word for fog, the Norwegian black metal band. I did own this album for many years on cassette tape, like from the tape trading days, but as is the case, when you actually buy an album in original format, you invest more interest and commitment in it. So again, when I was in Tasmania last year, the same time when I picked up The Covenant, I got this album and just really enjoy it. It's classic Norwegian black metal, but very melodic, and there's just a lot of quirky moments on it which are really catchy, and all those classical Norwegian black metal elements. So yeah, I'd always known this album, and I actually saw the band at Steelfest a couple of years ago, but since buying this I really got into it a lot. So this, I don't know if it's considered a classic, but in the black metal world, definitely, because it came out in the 90s. But yeah, Torka with Nattestid. Okay. Question 19. Was there a video or stream that you participated in during 2025 that you are especially proud of? Include a link in the description. In a word, no. I've never participated yet in some kind of stream, with live chats and discussions. I know a lot of other YouTubers do it. I remember Rick from the Dreadful Minutes, he actually said, oh, maybe one day we would like to have you on. I'm not sure how well I would do in that, but yeah, haven't done it yet. But I will say this, I'm open to that idea, if someone's interested to hear me rambling. But last year, just very late last year, just a month ago, Jason from Canada came to visit here. So his channel is called Low Noise Jason Skills. He's a really nice guy from Canada, and he's into all sorts of music, not just metal, but also punk, noise, experimental, and he's an avid vinyl collector. So when he came to Bangkok last year, he was doing a tour around Asia with his wife, and I took him to Fortune Town in Bangkok just to do some music shopping, and he made a little video, like a vlog about it, and I appeared in the video. But I can't say I'm proud of it because I didn't do much. He just filmed me and took me by surprise, but it was just cool to be part of that video. So, and it's something different, from me just looking and talking at the camera. So yeah, in Jason's vlog, that was kind of cool, to see that. I was like, wow, there I am. But yeah, I'll leave the link for that in the description. But yes, I'm not against streams. I would like to participate in one maybe, but I just haven't yet. So there you go. Okay, and question 20, the last one. Into Glory Ride. Name a band that you want to see release one more great album before they retire. Okay, so I've made two choices here. So the first one, Emperor. So I know Emperor have retired now. In terms of making new music, they only play live shows now on festivals, which is great. And I remember Ishan saying recently, he said it several times, I think, there's no need to release a new Emperor album. And you know what? He's probably right, but it would be cool. I would think that. And to be honest with you, you know, I like this band's discography in descending order. So, you know, in terms of their full length, so In the Night Side Eclipse is my favorite, Anthems is my second favorite, Equilibrium is my third favorite, and Prometheus, my least favorite. And I think that was just a somewhat disappointing note for the band to end on. Prometheus was their last album, and as many people have said, maybe it should have been an Ishan solo album. I just cannot get into that album, Prometheus, at all. So even though Emperor have released so many iconic, brilliant albums, like the 3 before that, as well as the, you know, various demos and the self-titled EP and stuff, I just think it would be really cool if this band just released one more album. And I know, I mean, I'm not there saying, oh, they should do this to please me, but I'm just saying in general, for me, it would be cool if they released, like, they return to form with maybe focusing on the elements of the self-titled EP, this one, and Anthems, even aspects of Equilibrium, but especially this album. I think, like, if they just release one more great album highlighting all those iconic Emperor elements, it would be cool. I know there's so many Emperor clones out there, but like AC/DC, there's a lot of bands that copy them, but there's only one AC/DC. The same with Emperor, and I think it would just be awesome if they closed with a brilliant album, which, you know, focused on Anthems and Eclipse. Yeah, so that's, yeah, Emperor is one of them. I think they've got it in them, definitely, because they're, you know, really creative musically and they're geniuses. So yeah, I think it can be done with Emperor. And another band, this is wishful thinking actually, because I know they probably won't, but Def Leppard. Yep, and it was no coincidence that I chose this one, High and Dry, because I would really like it if Def Leppard released, you know, I mean, they probably have a bit more music in them. They're still releasing singles, but not albums. But I think it would be really cool if they went back to their heavy metal roots, new wave of British heavy metal roots, and released an album in the vein of High and Dry. That would be awesome. And like, you know, Hysteria, I don't think you can really replicate that again, but imagine even if they had aspects of Pyromania, which is a bit more commercial, but it was somewhere between this one and Pyromania. If they did one more great hard rock / heavy metal album, I think it would just be such a brilliant way to close their career. I'm not really a fan of a lot of Def Leppard. After, like, Adrenalize, there are some songs on that which are good, but there are also others I really don't like, and some terrible lyrics and song titles. After that, I kind of lost interest, and, you know, they do have a few good songs here and there, but I think it would be awesome if they came back just for their final album to release something in the vein of High and Dry. All right, so that's it, guys. How long have I been going? 32 minutes, which is not too bad for me. 20 questions for my standards. So yes, I hope you enjoyed my responses to these questions, to the Metal Tag 2026. And I'd like to hear from you in the comments. Let me know what you think of these albums or my answers, anything like that. And Marty and Alan, thanks a lot for putting on this contest again. It's always enjoyable to answer the questions. And on that note, I'll say I've watched a lot of other people's videos, haven't commented on all of them, but I've been really enjoying all of them, and that was the inspiration for me to do one. And yes, if you're thinking of starting a channel and you want to get some traction, this is a really good way to introduce your channel by answering the Metal Tag. So I'll leave it there, guys. I'll be back again soon with another video. Yes, I know I have plenty to talk about, like there's collection updates, existing collection, and so on. So I will be back soon, but in the meantime, take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Cheers, bye.